Hey guys, and welcome to our who's your mate? Welcome to our end of year Koa Sports wrap up. We come to you in our new kits, new mics.
No.
Definitely not connected, but it will be in early 2019. So a few things to talk about today. First of all, a big thanks to all the Koa community, the Koa Sports community, for welcoming me into the coaching ranks with the big fella in October. It's been, it's gone fast. It's gone really fast.
You've been busy though.
So really busy, and one of the most pleasing things that I've found since partnering up with Tim is the amount of PRs and PBs that come through on our fortnightly race reports, which is really awesome. So thanks to all of you for putting in the huge amount of effort you have over the past 4 months. 4 months, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, since I've been on board. So really looking forward to a big 2019. What we wanted to, a few things to touch on.
Yeah, people are going to...
Shave legs.
Put your knee down.
So few things to touch on. The diversity of the we had a few points written down over on the laptop over here. So a few things we wanted to touch on. The diversity of our athlete group, if you like, around the globe.
Yeah.
Especially at this time of year, seems to be, I guess, more weather extremes.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny as a coach. This week I was on Skype to, very funny. I was on Skype to Federico, who's in Italy, and he does some ski mountaineering. And then, I'm talking to the guys in Australia trying to deal with extreme heat. And then I'm talking to Jack in Beijing, who is catching ferries across, who's just absolutely freezing. And you think about this as a coach, like it just broadens, your skill set and just the ability to sort of change gears and really change your thinking patterns, and it challenges you. So that's part of the reason why, by design, we try to really diversify our athlete base. Is it genuinely makes us broader based coaches in terms of skills. So, whilst, even that discussion topic that was on Strava this week about, the challenges of trying to remain consistent, if you actually looked at it, and there was some pretty funny stuff on there, but there was nothing the same. And I think that really goes to the heart of what we're trying to do, is that there's no cut and paste. There's nothing really the same in what we do. And even if you look through all the Strava workouts, no one's doing the same thing.
No, everyone's different.
Everyone's different. Yeah. So that's, I think that's a really big thing. And that's something that we're always going to stay true to, because a lot of people are doing it now, let's be honest, but a lot of people say they do it and they don't do it. So, it's just something that's really core value to us. So,
and moving into down in the, in the Western world, I suppose we call the silly season, for want of a better term. And moving on to talk about some nutrition stuff. And the feedback, a lot of the stuff that came through the Strava group was, I'm going to have a bit of a blowout over the Christmas period or the holiday period, and how, as an athlete, how do you manage that? So, and we're probably a good example of that today. Like I'm traveling down to where I grew up in Sydney this afternoon. So it's like, all right, well, I can't swim. I'm not swimming tomorrow. And Christmas Eve with the family. So we're going to go and squeeze a swim in this afternoon. So there is a bit of juggling to do around that. And probably, a couple of points down the list here, we had nutrition. So... just be wary. I mean, I always find as I call it a deterrent for me personally, and this as I'll speak as an athlete and a coach, it's often good to have a little deterrent in there. So most of my athletes that I'm coaching will find, and if we've actually spoken to most of them now, or if not all of them, they've got a session in on Christmas morning, unless you're in Tim's position and you've got a 3-year-old. So 3-year-old probably gets you off the list. If you have kids over 12 or don't have kids, you're training on Christmas morning.
I definitely struggle. But if it's like anything, if you plan. But what I've also found is that a lot of people now are working through the Christmas period, but they take their holidays in early January, right? So then all of a sudden the Christmas or the holiday season is 4 weeks. And, it just extends. So, like, the deeper you go in terms of nutrition, or the harder you go, say, at the Boxing Day test, or however it looks, or the whatever it looks like, the harder it is to get back. And certainly, I'm not going to lie, you know, I was joking with Greg yesterday on the bike. I get my pudding and you can't even see the pudding because it's so deep in custard. But that's a treat and that's fine. But that ability then to flick a switch and, you know, work that off. So look, go your hardest in terms of having fun and, you know, drink responsibly, all those sorts of things. But just be aware that you can undo a lot of really good work really fast. And, you know, before you know it, 2019's on your doorstep. So yeah, just be aware, guys. Yeah.
Now moving on to 2019, a couple of big things that we're doing is obviously we've put it out there already. We're going to be using these things a lot more. There's another one downstairs at my place, so we'll have one each.
I mean, we've already got some great guests lined up. Obviously, we're talking about the podcast. So we're doing season 1 of the Koa Sports podcast next year, starting in February. And that'll be a 10-season podcast, so 10 every month, you know, up until December next year. So we'll target that mid part of the year. And yeah, you know, we thought about weekly, but we just don't have enough good content, or we probably bore people for that. So I think monthly is plenty. Yeah, we're gonna have some really funny stuff. That old saying about taking what you do seriously but not taking yourself seriously, which is certainly will be that. So we'll either put you to sleep on a ride or while you're out running, so it'll be a good time to listen to it. So that's been something that we wanted to do, and I was a guest on. Greg used to do a podcast a way back, so
number one downloaded. Number one, I think Tim downloaded it 500 times, and his wife probably downloaded it 2,000 times.
I've got a big family. But, yeah, so that's gonna be great, mate. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, cool. And then race wise next year, we've got a huge year. Like
we should have actually just jotted down on the laptop where we're going to be.
Well, we can probably nearly run through. We can probably do it.
It's going to be huge.
So we start off, we're both going to be in Geelong.
Both in Geelong. That's going to be big. At this stage, we have, if you can believe it, 18 athletes ready for Geelong. So that's going to be a really big day. I've raced it a few times, know it really well. You really don't know what you're going to get. I love that course. I think it's a really true half course. We're not going to go through each course, but just while we're on I know. I love that course. I think it really can throw up some challenges. I've done it one year where it was 42, and been there coaching a few years ago, and it was literally hailing on the run. So you don't really know what you get, but that's Melbourne. Well, it's not Geelong, but it's the same sort of place. So we've got Colombo as well, obviously.
The week after. You're going to be a busy boy.
Yeah, so I'll be hightailing it back, getting my bike and then getting on the burner to Colombo. And then just to run quickly through, obviously Cairns, Port Macquarie, Sunny Coast, obviously being local, Noosa Try, South Korea, that's fairly significant in May. I told you we were going to forget some. Busso. Malaysia in November.
Hopefully on the Hot Rock in October.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. So lift your game, people. What else, man? We've definitely
a few more. If we've missed any, we'll definitely put out a list. Western Sydney, Mooloolaba Try in March. He's going to be a really big one for us as well. So there's definitely plenty happening.
Running events, Gold Coast Marathon, all sorts of stuff. So chockers.
Yeah, we're going to be busy. It's great. It's great, and thanks to you guys. That's why it allows us to get around and see you guys at as many events as we possibly can.
You should also mention, there is something in having your coach on the sidelines too. So if you are still tossing up whether to do an event, and you want Greg or I had a few of my athletes racing Western Sydney, and Greg was there, and it's the same. Obviously, I talk to Greg about where my athletes at, what their aspirations are. He'll either catch up with them or just be aware and give them updates through the day. So it's actually a really handy thing. Obviously, Greg's got some athletes racing in Sri Lanka, and I'm going to be there. So just things like that. So that's why you've got the power of two coaches. So whilst, Greg, you've got your athletes, I've got mine. We're very much intertwined.
Yeah, so if there's a race out there that you think you might want to attend, just let us know. The more of this stuff out there, the better. You'll notice the shirts are very red.
You all got your new kit this week?
When you're all running towards us. So thanks to everyone who's popped up Instagram stories and Strava stories and whatever else there is with the new kit. It looks pretty cool. And I've noticed a bit of a shift in some of the material in some of the things, which is awesome. So yeah, it looks great, feels great, fits great. So yeah.
And the new logo, Physique. So yeah, just getting further and further down the shirt, and soon we'll have it's going really well. So obviously our partners this year have been absolutely fantastic. So. But we won't go through them.
Cool.
What else are we doing?
How about we have a quick chat about
safety.
Our meeting yesterday?
What about safety?
First?
Safety.
Okay, safety.
Yeah. So safety. Distracted drivers, particularly. Look, I know we've got athletes everywhere, but I just certainly know in Australia, you've got to be so switched on now. People pack their cars right up. They fit as much with their dog and their kids all in the back, and they can't see out basically their windows, and you're on your bike. They're distracted, they're on roads they're not familiar with. The reality is people maybe have one too many as well and get behind the wheel. It's just the world that we live in. Be careful. I've had three athletes in incidents with cars this year. And thankfully they're all still with us, but you're a millimetre away of not being with us. So look, selfishly, you can ask my missus, there's nothing more devastating than getting that text from either an athlete or the partner saying, there's been an accident, and you just immediately think the worst. So just please be careful. You all got families, you all got friends, so that's the main thing. So just be careful. Get your podcasts out of your ears on the bike, or just be really careful.
Yeah, choose your routes carefully.
All that stuff.
We should be doing it all the time. It's probably a good time of year to remind everyone to do that. So stay safe.
Meeting yesterday was
we had a little meeting yesterday. Struggled to find our way into the meeting room, but we got there in the end. So very very promising stuff that you guys are going to see roll out probably from early, I'd say in January. There's going to start to see some stuff coming through. With a few things we spoke about.
Did you get much sleep last night?
Yesterday? Not a great deal. Too much thinking.
I had some surprises in there for him. We had a strategy meeting for next year. Just like athletes, in a business we have
goal setting, planning.
Outcome goals, process goals. So we've got our own goals, obviously. This is our careers. We're full-time coaches, so obviously we need to pay rent, pay mortgages, put food on the table, things like that, but also creating a better experience for you guys. And there's a bit of a game changer in there, we think, and that's something that we're going to drive towards and keep sort of raising the bar for us and keep challenging ourselves. So that's going to come through for you guys.
So there's plenty happening.
Yeah, I'm
2019 is going to be a bloody good year.
Yeah,
so can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
So I think that's it, mate. I think what do we got
next week? Next week, you'll all get an email with a document like last year with a chance to give us some feedback as coaches. And how we can improve. So that's going to have some different things to last year who have done it. Obviously, we've tried to address as much as we can through that. It's a sort of a first thing for you, Greg, to go through that process. Be as constructive and give as much as we possibly can. And we take it on board. Try not to get too personal, because I'm a little bit soft-hearted. But and then also just a little bit of goal setting stuff. Most people do have their goals. We've had those conversations already, but we'll just helps to write them down. It's a good time to do them, and you want to carry that momentum into next year, next calendar year. So let's focus on that. But man, it's been fun, and I just want to say, you've made you've made a huge start, and you've hit all your KPIs. So. We just look forward to next year, and he's training for Ironman Cairns, so he's starting to lose a bit of weight. How much weight you lost?
Well, since teaming up with you, I've dropped another 6, but I've lost plenty of weight this year. So it's been a really great move for April and I to move north up to the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
And again, thanks to you, because it's always good to have someone that's got your back every day.
Yeah.
And a bit of accountability.
Yep.
And the app helps. That helps.
Yeah.
A few green lights.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks to and all you guys. I mean, it's nothing more motivating as a coach to know that your athletes are now watching you through Strava as well.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that going on, which is great, which is really good. So I guess it's what do we say here? Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays.
Man. You're digging the hole.
I'm going deep.
Keep going. See you guys.
See you.
Catch up.
Bye.